People who use drugs have human rights. We all have human rights, regardless of whether we use drugs or not. However, sometimes we can't be denied our human rights due to stigma and discrimination.
UISCE is an organisation that works for and with people who use drugs, and the primary focus of the organisation is to really try and ensure that the voice of people who use drugs is heard in decision making. We recognise in UISCE that people who use drugs are stigmatised, discriminated against and criminalised. And we know that leads to a lot more punishment and poorer outcomes. What we're really arguing for with Support Don't Punish is policies and drug reform that's based on supporting people and not punishing people.
The drug control system is broken and it needs reform.
Does everybody here feel like they've been shamed or stigmatised because of who they are and because they're children? Hands up if you feel like you've been shamed or stigmatised. And be honest here, do people think it was of any value? Did it make things better or worse?
No.
There's a unique opportunity as well now in 2023. We have the Citizens Assembly on drug use. It's a really good opportunity to have a look at what we're doing and say, can we do things better? Is there a better way of doing things? And for us in the organisation, it's really about trying to create the conditions for people, the people who are the most impacted and who have the most experience, it must be said, around drugs, that they really drive and change. So it's really about creating the conditions for people who have the most experience and who are the most impacted to be actors for change. When you look at our policy, say, and our services, do you think they use a human rights-based approach when working with people like ourselves?
No. They're supposed to. They're supposed to, but they don't. They don't.
And I think today is an opportunity for us to do that with the Support Don't Punish call of action, which again is really around supporting people as opposed to punishing people. So it's about public health, it's about human rights, and it's about harm reduction. What we're going to do today is, right, we have a leaflet, right? And we're going to give this out. We've developed this leaflet around two things. Human rights, and it's around promoting the idea that what we want to do is support people and not punish them, right? Yeah. I think as a group of people here, I think everyone here is aware of the damage of what punishing people does.
That people who use drugs are treated equally in society with dignity and respect, and that they participate fully and have their voices in all areas where decisions affecting their lives are made.
Harm reduction is radical empathy. The basic idea is that regardless of whether people continue to use illegal drugs or engage in other behaviours, their lives have value.
I think people that use drugs should no longer be criminalised.
Shame and stigma never work.
We have internal shame ourselves.
Named and shamed as addicts.
Punishing yourself enough. You feel so much shame, it's unreal.
The drug policies and drug services aren't designed by people that use drugs. It's the one sector that doesn't ask the people that access the services for feedback on the services.
If you're using drugs, you haven't got a voice. Nobody is interested in your opinion.
I think to include people that use drugs in all the decision making can actually help and, educate from a different perspective, perspective that they've never listened to before. Subjecting people to criminal sanctions for personal use of drugs, for the possession of drugs, for personal use, infringes on their autonomy and right to privacy. The criminalisation of drug use has undermined the right to health. Government should rely instead on non-penal regulatory and public health policies.
Most people who use drugs, that is their crime.
The difference in different countries and the policies they have, it should be the same like for their country.
The money that's been put into penalising people that use drugs could be put into a more health-led approach. As the campaign says, support, don't punish.
Let's punish. Punish, punish, punish.
We need to actually stop, hold up, think. It's actually going to affect children.
It costs £1,000 a week to keep a prisoner. Why not just put them in a treatment centre?
Yeah.
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
And it makes them better.
And what about people that can't go into treatment that don't want to contribute? Do you think we should have stronger harm reduction measures or groups or programs that are out on the street?
Definitely, we have to meet people where they're at.
In UISCE, we also see that the impacts of drugs and our drug policies impact particular groups of people more than other groups of people.
We didn't come from families that had a lot of money. Being a young age, like on the streets.
We will usually criminalise and punish certain groups of people who use drugs and certain groups of people who come from certain communities.
If they were in their shoes, what way would they put it out, you know?
The day I was 18, I got hit like with about 7 charges. That then gave me a criminal record, so that kind of, you know, dictated the road that I was going down upon, because I wasn't able to get a job, I wasn't able to, you know, access other services due to my criminal record. Even today, that's still impacting me on a daily basis.
In most people's minds, they have not moved from the attitude that people who use drugs are less than, there's something wrong with them. The fact that somebody could be just curious and young and inexperienced, yeah, of course, there's a lot of people who end up using drugs have difficulties anyway. The drugs just compounds it.
You lose everything when you go to prison. You lose your partner, you lose your kids, you lose your house. You're just left with nothing.
We've got to get a politician on our side, and we've got to get a politician in this shit where we can sit down and give suggestions, and everybody that's involved in it give their piece and say what should be changed. And I say most of them would say the same thing. Do you know what I mean? They've got to change the handcuffs that we're walking around in.
Support Don't Punish!
It's really about change.